Hello there, all you wonderful and beautiful ladies and gentlemen of the internet. It is I here, Daniel Andrus, here today for another episode on the Sega Experience. In today's episode, we're talking about my favorite game of all time, Shenmue I and II, both of them most definitely, or my favorite game series, I should say. But you know, Shenmue was supposed to be one giant adventure, so I like seeing the games as one giant video game. 1, 2, and even 3 is going to be coming out, hopefully very soon, because that's what it's supposed to be. That was Yu Suzuki's vision, is that the games are one giant story. You know, it's not like, you know, you're not supposed to view it separately. But if you want to be that way, my favorite game of all time is actually Shenmue II right here. This is my favorite game ever made. I have it here in Japanese, I have it here on the Xbox, I have it here, a fan-made version that I made myself to play it in English on the Dreamcast, which this is my go-to version of the game if I ever want to play it. But, or actually, well, these two are, I should say, because I'm actually playing the game again. I'm actually in Shenmue I right now. This is my third time playing the game, and let me tell you, every time I play Shenmue, it's always a new experience for me. And I really want to sit down and talk about this series and why it's very important to me, why it's very special to me, why it means a lot to me, and why it means a lot to Sega and the Dreamcast and the people who play this game and all that stuff. Because Shenmue is a very, very powerful, positive thing. In its entirety of what it is and why it's created and what and all that stuff. And I would love to get into its entire story, but I'd be here for a whole hour in this video. If you want to know more about Shenmue, I'd highly recommend checking out Shenmue Dojo, the official YouTube channel and the forums. I would recommend also looking up Adam Korlick and his Keep Dreaming videos. This is his favorite game of all time also, and the Sega Dreamcast is the favorite console ever, just like me. And Johnny Millennium, the Happy Console Gamer. Now, I'll put descriptions in this video below if you want to know more about Shenmue lore, its history, odd stuff, if there's not much about the series that you know. Let me talk to you about Shenmue. Okay, so my experiences with it, my personal story from left to right. I remember back in 2013 or 2012, either early 2013 or late 2012, I discovered this game. And I was like, what is that game? That looks really, really good. Because I was doing a lot of research on the Dreamcast and all these other things, and I wanted to know what the hell Shenmue was. And it turns out that long before I knew what Shenmue was, Shenmue was something very special to me without me entirely even realizing it until I sat down and play it. And what that something is that I will describe it later on in the video. So, I discovered Shenmue through, I think maybe it was M. Korlick. I'm not sure who it was. Maybe it was another video on YouTube. Maybe it was some other Dreamcast video. But it looked unique, and it was highly regarded as the best game on the Sega Dreamcast. And that really surprised me. A lot of people see this game right here in the United States of America, or here in North America, this game to be the best game ever on the Sega Dreamcast, of all of them. And in other regions, obviously, we would have Shenmue II to be there. Now, I don't have the PAL versions, as you can tell, for Shenmue nerds or fans or people who collect the games, because it's very expensive. And I will collect it one day for sure. I want to get Shenmue I and II. I want to get every version of all three versions, all regions of the games. I'm going to skip US Shenmue, more than likely, and I want to get an official copy of What's Shenmue also, which isn't very expensive, but I'm definitely going to skip US Shenmue, which is basically this game on the Japanese Dreamcast, dubbed with Japanese subtitles. Now, Shenmue is a very Japanese story and a very Japanese game that deserves to be in Japanese. I personally like both versions of the game, and I know the dubbing is really goofy in the English version sometimes, and that's okay with me. It doesn't really bother me. For the most of the time, I think the cast members do a perfectly fine job for Shenmue, very good, in-depth job. But granted, you're playing in Japan and China in the 80s as somebody who was born and raised in Japan. You should play this game in its native language. I totally agree with that 100%. It has nothing to do with, being, it has nothing to do with like anything. It's just for the fact that you're playing somebody who's Japanese and it makes sense. It has nothing to do, Japanese voice stuff is superior, with anime and gaming if it's made in Japan. It's not like that for me. It's just like, I understand, where people are coming from. And I would love to, and that's why, on my PC here, I'm playing a fan-made version of Shenmue that's Japanese with the English subtitles. And for Shenmue II in Europe, it was only released in Japanese with English subtitles. So for me, I'm able to play a fan translation or a fan-made version called Shenmue Undubbed, which again is what I just said what it was. It's this game, the Japanese version of Shenmue with English subtitles. The official Japanese version does not have an English subtitles option, which is kind of sad. I wish these games did, because I would be playing these without any problem with Codebreaker on my Dreamcast. Absolutely, I would love to, but for right now, no. Until I learn kanji, I'm not gonna worry about it. If I ever get around to that. For right now, though, in a situation in my life, I'm not there quite yet. But anyways, for Shenmue, I was in high school. I'm now 23 years old, so it's been about a few years since I know about Shenmue. I've been a huge Shenmue fan for the past 4 or 5 years of my life. 3 or 4 years of my life, or 3, 4, or 5 years of my life, and it's been my favorite game ever since. And it's the best video game ever played to me, and I don't think it's ever going to change. Shenmue 3 might just be a better game than Shenmue 2, but we don't know until it's out. And I'm really happy that the creator of Shenmue, Yu Suzuki, wants to do more games. He wants to do Shenmue 4 and hopefully Shenmue 5. Now, I wouldn't mind 4 being the finale at all. 3, I don't think 3 could be the finale, because Shenmue has so much left in its story that we haven't even gotten to see or know yet. There's so much to its potential, so much to its mystery. If you've played these damn games, you know what I'm talking about. Shenmue has a lot of build-up behind it as you journey throughout, as you play as the main character Ryo Hazuki, as you learn more, as you discover more, as you get to find out more stuff. There's more secrets, there's more things you still don't know about yet, and I love that about Shenmue. The mystery behind its story is so damn good. The way it's written, the way it's portrayed, the way it's executed, it's just so perfect in storytelling. I love storytelling. I'm actually working on a book. I actually love writing. I love fictional writing in general. And Shenmue is definitely one of my favorite stories of all time. And there's so much coolness to, and so much like mystery and epicness to, like, you know, to the Phoenix and the Dragon Mirrors. What are they? Where do they come from? What do they mean? Who's Lan Di? What's his background? Why did he? There's really not a lot of spoilers here, because this is in the very beginning of Shenmue. What Shenmue's about? It's about Ryo Hazuki, the main character. His father, Iwao Hazuki. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm very sorry if I pronounce it wrong. Iwao. I think it's Iwao. His father was murdered by Lan Di in the very beginning of the game. So this whole story is about Ryo is very upset. His dad was just killed. He wants to seek vengeance, but should he? And he learns more about who his father was, who Lan Di is, in this world that was around his father and Lan Di, and all these things they've done and experienced, and you know what they're about as he travels through his journey. And that's so damn cool. Like, it's not about Ryo, it's more about his father and Lan Di than it is about him and what he knows about them. And that's very, very good storytelling in my opinion. It makes it so much more like, you know, I can't talk today. It makes it so much more enthralling and engaging. You just want to sit down and just listen and experience this story as you play these games. Trust me, if you've played Shenmue, I hope you feel that way about it, because I most certainly do. Especially if you play both games. Now, Shenmue is a game that I do believe every man, woman, and child on this planet should play it, because it is at least once. I'm not saying everybody in the world should beat Shenmue, but I think everybody in the world should give it at least a shot to see what it's like. It is a real-life simulator. It simulates reality incredibly well. You're actually playing through a human being's life. Now, Ryo Hazuki didn't exist. I don't think most of these characters, I think, are just fictional from the ground up, but some of these people I think were real people. Don't quote me on that, I have no idea. But just the way how they did it was very cool. I mean, it's just the way Yu Suzuki and his team were able to design this game was just beautiful and incredible. Obviously, I'm going to show footage here to see what it's like and stuff, but, you know, and to get a good idea of what I'm talking about. I know I'm going all over the place too. There's just so much I want to talk about when it comes to Shenmue that I just can't help but express it. And I know I'm going here and here and here and here and here and here with the story, but man, oh man, there's just so much to say. There's so much to build upon. You know, I really want to review both games one day too. Absolutely. You know, in separate videos, maybe together. I don't know yet, because I can't wait until Shenmue HD gets announced. if it ever will, which it should. It should get announced. It's not like they're gonna totally ignore it. But yeah, wow, what an incredible game. Like, seriously. Let me check one thing really fast here about Shenmue II. Oh, okay, so, alright, sorry, I was just checking the Shenmue 1's copy here. It has it in kanji there, and then, I don't know, I was just checking it for Shenmue 2, it's complete in English. It's just very strange, but it's okay. Sorry, you can't really tell what I'm talking about, but I might just cut the part out completely. I don't know yet, but maybe I won't. If I don't, sorry, it's a bit awkward. And it's continuing on with my little Shenmue story. Okay, so I was a young high schooler who's about to graduate when I discovered Shenmue, and I've wanted to play it. So I think that summer or that fall of 2013, around no, definitely not 2014. I bought a Sega Dreamcast in 2013 with Shenmue, and like many people out there, one strong Achilles heel about this game right here, one weakness Shenmue has, are the discs. Now it's a multi-disc game. Here's disc 1 and disc 2. So is Shenmue 2. Shenmue 2 is 4 discs long. Okay? And here's disc 3. And one very sad thing about Shenmue is that these discs will give out on you sometimes. And I don't understand why. It's just, what the hell? Like, you know, there's so many stories behind it. Like, people say, yeah, Shenmue, when it was produced, it was just kind of produced weekly here and stuff like that. And it's just like, give me a break. This is like the 4th or 5th time I bought Shenmue, and the last time, and I'm on disc 3, and I've had no issues. Never. My discs were a little bit scratchy when I got them, and then I got them cleaned up at a local game store of mine called Disc Replay, and they cleaned them up like they were in new condition. The only problems I had with disc 1, there was a point when I was at the pet cemetery at the very beginning of the game when there was just a point when the game just kind of stopped and we were just kind of stood still and I couldn't do anything. But that was it. Other than that, you know, thankfully the game, it was, now Shenmue has a like multi-day system, I guess, day-night system, and each day is, you know, it tells you the dates and stuff. So it was at the very beginning of the day in the game. Now, and also in Shenmue 1, there's only one point when you can save it. There's like a save point. It's in Ryo's bedroom. In Shenmue 2, you can save the game whenever you want to, and I think that's an incredible, huge adjustment to the first game. They have like a continue option, which basically lets you save the game at a stopping point, and then if you want to play it later, like whenever you can, but you have to start. After you save it, you can't keep going. The only way for you to keep going in Shenmue 1 after save it is if you save it in the bedroom. But if you save it when you're out and about in the story of the world, you have to come back to it later to continue it. You have to turn back. You have to turn for Dreamcast, turn back on it, and hit continue, and then continue off where you were. So they have two ways of saving this game, is what I'm trying to tell you. But yeah. You know, Shenmue, you know, I've come across many copies of the game. I had to burn the discs and stuff like that just to continue it. This, none of that ever happened. None of it has ever happened. And I'm very close to finishing it. I'm at the point when Ryo got a job in the story and where he had a couple encounters with the Mad Angels. So I'm near the end of it. Now I know the whole story of both games like the back of my hand. You know, the huge major plot points of each game, so trust me, I do. There's a funny but sad story behind why this exists and why this is not on the Dreamcast, and I'll get to that later on. I don't know if I'm going to talk about that in this video, but man, oh man, Shenmue has such a beautiful, wonderful, creative, unique world with its realistic weather system, with its dates, you know, how it's like actual time and everything, with the world, though, you know, the world does not revolve around you in this game. You have to be revolving around the world schedule, around what happens. And that's very cool how they design it that way. Not a lot of video games do that. That's something you definitely have to give props to Shenmue, is that there's schedules, there's weather conditions, there's all these little things you have to think about. It's just like reality. And that's why this is my favorite open world game ever, and one of my favorite games of all time. My favorite game of all time. Can't just say one of my favorites. What am I talking about? They both are. My second favorite game ever, that title definitely goes to Earthbound. What a classic. But that's for another video, for another time. It's about Shenmue. The reason why Shenmue is so unique and special to me is because when I was a child, like growing up as a kid, loving video games, playing 3D open world games and 2D side scrolls and whatnot, I've always imagined a game that was just open worlded. It was just completely like there's no bounds and you can do whatever you want whenever you wanted to. And you know, obviously there's a lot of games out there like that, but Shenmue I think is that game, and it's more than that, than what I imagined as a kid. There's so much more to it than that. You know, it's just like real life, and that's my dream game. And I remember my brother, he got an Xbox 360 for Christmas, and now he's my older brother. When I was like 12 or 13 or 11, 10, I wasn't 13. No, maybe it was. I was like 11, 10, or 12 or 13. I remember it. The Xbox 360 came out in 2006. I was at least... I think I was 12. I think I was 12 years old when he got it. Yeah, I was 12. And he got the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. My fourth favorite video game of all time. Next to Sonic 3. So that goes Shenmue, Earthbound, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or Sonic 3 Complete, and then Oblivion. I love Oblivion. Oblivion is such a classic on the Xbox 360. You know, and it's just such a great game. You know, obviously my favorite Elder Scrolls game. And that's exactly what I was talking about. But it was medieval, and it wasn't fully there. It was mostly first person. And I was like, no, I mean like something that's kind of like this, but not quite there. And then this just came out of nowhere a few years later, and I'm like, oh, that game has always existed. What do you know? You know, when I was like 5 years old, this game basically came out in 2001, because I was born in 94. And obviously, I didn't know what the hell a Dreamcast was until I was in high school. I grew up with that machine over there, the Nintendo GameCube, right there. So if you can see that. Yep. On that desk. That's not my childhood GameCube, but that is the system that I had growing up. So, sorry. And the internet and YouTube weren't really a thing back then, and neither was really. I was a little child. I wasn't gonna get on my way to research anything. I just wanted to enjoy life, you know. Which obviously I'm still like that now, but you know, if there's things I'm really into, I'm gonna look more into it. And with Sega, I definitely did. I wanted to look more into their hardware history, into their games and stuff. And then I found their greatest achievement yet, their granddaddy, the greatest, most wonderful game they have ever created next to Panzer Dragoon Saga, debatably, is Shenmue. Shenmue is a wonderful, fantastic, powerful, beloved classic of a game. It really is, and there's nothing else like it. A lot of games out there emulate other games' formulas, and even so, like, you know, like for example, like the Elder Scrolls games could be similar to another RPG, first-person RPG or whatnot, or like, you know, Final Fantasy and, you know, Dragon's Quest or something like that, or Fantasy Star. You know, all these other RPGs are very similar games and very similar styles. That's what I mean. Nothing else out there mimics Shenmue, even comes close to doing what it does. Nothing does. The only thing out there that sort of does the same thing as Mass Effect, but not really. No, not even close. Not even close. Nothing feels at all similar to this game. Nothing out there has, or does. No gamer out there has ever played anything that's similar to Shenmue, or no developer out there has ever made anything similar. I am 1000% fucking telling you the truth. Trust me, you can do all the research you want. I am being dead serious here. Nothing is similar to Shenmue. Nothing is, and that just adds to its uniqueness, in my opinion. That there's nothing but Shenmue like Shenmue, and that I love. I absolutely love that. The ending to Shenmue II is a big deal also. It is such a humongous what the fuck happens next situation. It is this humongous cliffhanger, and there's so much you learn at the ending of the game. There is a ton that just happens out of nowhere, and there's just what? It kind of blows your mind. It really blows your mind when you see what happens at the end of this game. In fact, most of Shenmue is very grounded. It's very realistic, and you know, things you would probably just see in real life. Nothing in Shenmue is boring. Let me tell you that right now. If you're watching Shenmue, it could be boring, but if you're actually playing it, no. Believe me, this game does not feel boring in the slightest. It definitely doesn't. Definitely doesn't. Especially if you have the time and day to appreciate something and knows what that's like. Shenmue is not boring. It really isn't. Believe me. Believe me, it's not a boring game. But the ending of Shenmue 2 has something in it that's very off the ground and very kind of like, what? Like that's crazy. You know, there's a floating sword, and that's all I'm really gonna say. And it kind of like just, you know, kind of makes you go, what the hell? And then all this other crazy stuff happens, and then you want to see what happens next, and the game just ends. And Shenmue 3 is finally gonna come out. It's finally gonna come here. I cannot wait. I've only been in Shenmue 2 twice, and this, next to Earthbound, has my favorite final boss. And I'm talking about, oh god, what was his name? The Don something, I think. The big green, the big fat guy in green, the big strong man. I forgot his name, but he was such a dick. But that fight with him, with Lan Di watching the fight on the helicopter, oh my god, gives me chills and gets me all pumped up every time I do that fight. And with the quick time events and everything, that fight is fantastic. Now for quick time events, that's another thing about Shenmue. There's a ton of them, but this is the only series that I think does it perfectly fine. Shenmue has a great flow of pretty much everything. With like it presents you things in a very like peaceful, calming way. Like okay, you gotta do this in the game now. Here's how we're gonna teach you how to do it. You got it. Good. Okay, keep doing that. It could be anything. It could be learning how to walk. It could be learning how to run. It could be fighting. It could be quick time events. It could be, you know, doing the forklift stuff in Shenmue 1 or anything really. The only exception might be the jobs you do in Shenmue 2 when you have to move those giant wooden boxes when you when you work with I forgot that guy's name too, but he goes like left, right, left. You know who I'm talking about, who plays Shenmue 2. He's a huge meme in the Shenmue community, and he's like my favorite. Like he's just really funny. Like trust me, it's just because it's a huge joke in Shenmue. His name was like Don Lee or something, or is that the final boss? I don't remember. I get their names mixed up. I remember. Oh yeah, it was like Don Liu, wasn't it? The big guy you fight, I forgot his name. It was something like that. I don't know. I'm way off if I'm off. I'm sorry. I always forget his name. I'm sorry, but I do. I know most of the characters. I know Ryo, Guizan, and Shenmue 1. I love Guizan. You know, Guizan is such a huge deal in this game. He should be in the front cover. He should be like right here or something. Guizan is a main character, and I love him. And he's kind of like, you know, he's kind of like Ryo's mentor, who's like closer to his age, but he's not his mentor. He meets him in this game. They meet each other, but after they do, he's assigned to be his bodyguard. So he teaches him a thing or two of how to fight, and they bond and everything. And Guizan's a really cool character. I love him. Now, Guizan's polar opposite / buddy character that Ryu has in Shenmue 2 is this guy right here, Ren. Ren's awesome. I love Ren. Ren's full of personality. He cracks me up. He and Ryo they're just really funny. They're kind of like if you've seen the Star Wars films, which I don't really want to talk about Star Wars that much because everybody fucking brings up Star Wars when it comes to storytelling. And I was going to earlier about Shenmue's story. I'm sorry, but I have to bring it for this one thing. Let's just say Shenmue 2 would be A New Hope, or Star Wars, the first one, episode 4. Ryo would be Luke Skywalker, and Ren would be Han Solo. You know how they're always kind of like arguing and had their little moments of fighting? And they're more, you know, they're more like, geez, it wasn't as funny. It's more charming when it comes to these two, trust me. It's not as like, you know, off, or kind of weird, or not weird, or just kind of like uncomfortable. It's actually really hysterical in this game. Believe me, it is. Because like right from the get-go, Ryo's just like, I don't really like you, but whatever. And then Ren's like, well, you gotta deal with me. And Ren's all about money, and I can smell the money in the air. You know, he's always saying that in this game. Trust me, he says it like 3 or 4 times.
Did you hear that? Treasures, he said. I told you, my hunches are always right.
That's like his most like memorable line in Shenmue 2. Yeah, no, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about this game. I love it a lot. I love its world again. You know, I love how it's real life, but so many bigger things happen. And then you find out that Lan Di is a part of the Chinese mafia. You pretty much find that out in the first game. So I'm sorry, that's not much of a big spoiler, but it just adds to the scale of the story. You start off as this kid who just graduated from high school recently, much like I did when I played this game, whose father was murdered, and then, you know, and now you're going off to experience life. In Shenmue 1, it's about Ryo having to leave his home life that he knew growing up behind, and transcending into Shenmue 2, where he's in this new world, in a new land. He's in China, and he doesn't know anything or anyone. And he's on his own. He has to just figure it out. And I love that. And right from the get-go, he meets some pretty friendly people in Shenmue II, and they stick with him throughout the rest of the story. I think I like the second game a lot more for sure because of that. Now, it's always a tie for me. Shenmue 1 has a very comfortable, cozy feeling because, you know everybody right immediately because it's people Ryo knows. He's like, oh hey, it's Tom. Oh hey, it's Goro. Or hey, it's sorry, I'm stuttering. It's Nozomi. Pretty much the only new person he meets is Master Chen and Guizan and a few other characters, but those two are main characters. And of course, there's also Landy and Chai, the bad guys. But generally you know everybody else. You know everybody else when you're growing up. You also there's this other character who I completely almost forgot about. Is Fukusan, the guy that lives in Ryo's house that was also his father's pupil. I personally see Fukusan as a brother character to Ryo Hazuki because he was there and everything, and he's kind of like the dope, but he's actually a really smart, helpful guy. Especially if you talk to him and you interact with him as much as you can, he can help you out a lot with some situations in the game. But yeah, I've just come to really appreciate him a lot more than I used to when I started playing the game. This is my third time playing through Shenmue 1, and let me tell you, this time I'm playing it is the best experience I've ever had with the game. My second time wasn't as good because my discs were constantly broke and I had to clean them and I burned them. Same thing with Shenmue 2. My second time playing it was not very good. My first time playing it was okay, but the first time I've ever played Shenmue 2 was on here, and I kind of regret that because you really shouldn't do that. If you've never played these games before, and if you have an Xbox Original or an Xbox 360, you should buy this first, but don't go into it. Okay, what I would do is I would buy this and maybe start playing it as you're playing the first game, but don't beat this game. The version of Shenmue 2 that you absolutely, positively have got to play and have got to purchase, or at least create, and have got to experience is the Dreamcast version. Not just because it's the best game on the Dreamcast, but because here's what mostly makes Shenmue and unique and awesome. No other video game freaking does this. No other video game sequels or continuations besides maybe Mass Effect does this. Okay? They connect. Just like Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Hey, no. But they do, though. I'm not joking. Like, when you beat Shenmue 1, everything you do in this game, all the training you've done, all the things you collected in your journey, all the things... Now, there's another thing. There are items that you can buy in this game that you can keep in your inventory. They transcend over to Shenmue 2. That's very important to know. If you have the Xbox version, you're screwed. Plus, I mentioned earlier a character named Chai. He's just... Hazuki refers him to Skinhead. Ryo does. Skinhead. Yeah, Skinhead Chai. There's a part in the game, and on disc 2, I think it is. I think it's disc 2, not 3, where you battle him. Now, he's very hard to beat, and you fight him in I can't talk that story. I'm very sorry. You fight him in the arcade. There's also an arcade in Shenmue. Hey, there you go. You fight him in the arcade in this game. You encounter him then, and he can beat you. And if he does, it's okay. The story continues. But if you beat him, your Ryo's skills transcend incredibly. The fighting in Shenmue is so damn perfect. It is so good. There's nothing wrong with the fighting. I swear to freaking God, it is the most realistic and fluid fighting I have ever played in a game. Ever. Because it is. It's action martial arts and everything, but it's so good. It's not like you always win every fight or anything like that, but the fighting is just... you have to learn. You really... No, I'm not just talking about Ryo. You, the player, have to learn how to fight inside the world of Shenmue, and that's what adds to it. There's like this connection, this link with you and Ryo as you train and as you fight these like, as these guys come up and they want to challenge you to a battle and you know what to do in the fight, there's like this connection with you and the main character. I'm not kidding, there really is. It's just a really beautiful bond. That also adds to it too. And like I said, Ryo Hazuki, man, if the more you train him, the more it'll pay off, especially if you play Shenmue 2. Now this really saddens my heart a little bit because you can't play Shenmue 3 and the other sequels on the Dreamcast, because after everything you learn and experience in the second game, it won't matter. It's kind of sad, and all the weight of everything that matters for its sequel is right here. That's why we really need Shenmue 1 and 2 to come to PS4. We seriously do. We seriously need to. It needs to happen, because if it doesn't, that's very heartbreaking. But I'm sure they're coming, because Sega did announce that they are working on the games, and obviously everybody wants these games to come. And they seriously should. Now, if you just, do this and just kind of forget all this stuff, and let's just say you have a Dreamcast and original Xbox, and you just go, that's all I'm gonna do with her. If you just do it like that, it's not gonna be a very good experience. Just take my word for it. I'm not the only human being out there telling you this. Adam Koralik, man, in one of his Shenmue videos, he mentions the exact same thing I'm telling you here. It is not worth playing Shenmue 2 for the first time on the original Xbox. I'm not saying you should never play it on the original Xbox, because that's okay if you want to. Trust me, it is okay. In fact, if anything, this is the cheapest way to play Shenmue. It's kind of like, the discount, it's literally the cheapest way. It's kind of like the McDonald's way of getting food. It's like, I don't have a lot of money. What am I gonna do? Or kind of having a cheap little house. This is the cheapest possible way you can play it, because it comes with a movie for Shenmue 1 that explains the entire story. So you can just skip a game and play this one. Would you look at that? But that's no fun. Shenmue's not meant to be watched, it's meant to be played. Don't do it that way. Please, for the love of God, for the love of Shenmue, for the love of Yu Suzuki, for the love of AM2, for the love of Sega, for the love of all that stuff, do not do that. Do not do that. Please go out of your way to buy Shenmue on the Dreamcast, then maybe buy Shenmue 2. This version, I swear to God, is not that expensive either. Then buy this, so then you have a legal copy to do this, to make Shenmue 2 yourself on the Dreamcast to play it like this. Now, I'll make another video talking all about Dreamcast disc burning, because that's a very dangerous thing to do. But in Shenmue's case, and Shenmue 2's case especially, you're fine. You're going to be okay. And I'll talk more about that later on in another video. I promise. Now that I just expressed and shared and told you the way of how you can purchase Shenmue, and the best way is to do it the other way. It's kind of the worst way too. The worst, in a way, possible you could buy it is doing it just with this one game only and nothing else. One of Shenmue's key, strongest elements is that it teaches you patience. It seriously does, because before I played Shenmue kind of changed me a little bit. It changed me in the way I look at life a lot. I'm not kidding. Shenmue really helped. Dragon Ball did that too. When I first became a Dragon Ball Z fan or a Dragon Ball fan, Dragon Ball really did change me as a person, and so does Shenmue. Not rarely does anything out there touch me in that sort of way. No sexual pun intended, but I'm being dead serious. Nothing out there really touches my heart, my spirit, my soul, my experiences, my way of being a person in that sort of way. Really does anything do that. In Shenmue's case, like I said, it teaches you patience and calmness and serenity and all that positive, good Zen stuff, So, for the love of yourself, don't do it that way. Seriously, you deserve a lot better than playing Shenmue just like this, because it should not even be on the original Xbox. There's nothing wrong. Now, there's a lot of Sega games that are debatably Dreamcast sequels that are on, or Sega sequels that are on the Xbox, like Panzer Dragoon Orta, Toe Jam and Earl 3, The House of the Dead 3, Jet Set Radio Future. Those games are fine. Those games technically are, they were in development for the Dreamcast. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. And now I know this is coming from a guy who has a channel called The Sega Experience, but my theory and my belief is that they were supposed to come out on the Dreamcast. It makes complete sense that they were. But Shenmue 2 was not. Shenmue 2 was supposed to, or not supposed to be on the Xbox. It was supposed to come here in North America on the Dreamcast. That is 100% certain. The Dreamcast was still a thing. It was barely dead right before this was coming on the Xbox. Or before that plan was made. It was barely gonna die. It had at least a week left, if anything. So they could have totally put it on the Dreamcast here. There's one man responsible for why it's on the original Xbox, and he's kind of a piece of shit for doing it, and he only did it for himself, to up himself up in the gaming industry, to a higher, for him to get more out of it. And that is Peter Moore. He's the president of Electronic Arts, EA. And he's kind of the reason why Star Wars Battlefront, the new games, are the way they are, with no campaign, the first game, all this stuff that people are really mad about. It's all basically that man's fault, Peter Moore's fault. Yeah, that right there should tell you everything you need to know. He is solely responsible for why Shenmue 2 is on the Xbox instead of on the Dreamcast. It should be on the Dreamcast, not the original Xbox in North America. In Japan and Europe, Shenmue II is only on the Dreamcast. Shenmue II is the only US version of it ever is the Xbox version. There is no Xbox, Japanese, or European version of this game. What an asshole. Like, seriously. God. That should tell you everything you need to know. Now, is the Xbox version a good port of the game? No, and it's not really because of the game, the way the game starts with, Ryo's gonna be really weak. And he is. He's nothing like he is in the first game. He's exactly like he is when you start off the first game. So he's not, everything you grow and learn in the first game, it's all kind of just whatever when you play Shenmue II on the Xbox. Because you can't transfer your data. It doesn't feel like a natural flow. It feels like, oh, that just kind of sucks. And playing it with the original Xbox controller is kind of off-putting sometimes. Now, I have nothing against Xbox or any of its controllers. I don't. That's not what this is about. I love playing Halo and Fable and games like those, okay? I love playing Panzer Dragoon Orta, Jet Set Radio Future. My favorite original Xbox game ever is Dreamfall: The Longest Journey. And I prefer playing it on the Xbox rather than the PC. So if you know about Dreamfall, let me know. Please tell me that's like my favorite game on Xbox. We gotta talk about Dreamfall sometime because that game is fantastic. But so is Shenmue. But they did an okay job with it. It's not the worst, but it's not the best either. It's not. This right here is. Let's say this right here is the love of your life, okay? She's and you're a male and you're straight. Okay, I don't care if you're straight or gay, but I am straight, so I'm gonna use this analogy. Okay, fine, it could be a male, whatever. They're the most. I'll say they're the most wonderful, beautiful, loving creature you've ever seen in your life, and they love you back. They do. They care about you. They want the best for you, so they give you a really great, awesome experience, and you're always gonna feel happy having them. This is some person who just wants to have sex and nothing more with you. I would go with this, okay? I would go with this because you're still getting that and so much more, and it's done right when you have that part. If you want to have sex, if you want to make love, it's done in a very beautiful, passionate, loving way, and everything else about it is wonderful too. If anything, this right here is basically like my fiance in a video game form. Would you look at that? I'm joking, Janelle. I'm completely kidding, honey. It's not like that at all. But this game is fucking fantastic. It seriously is. This is the best game I ever played in my life. I'd rather play like this than like that. And so is Shenmue I. So, with that being said, guys, that is my Shenmue analysis video. I'm very happy that this series exists. I'm so glad that I discovered it. I'm so happy that it's on Sega's platform. And just so you know, Yu Suzuki himself has quite the history. He's made a bunch of Sega classics before Shenmue even existed. He did Outrun, he did Space Harrier, he did Virtua Fighter, he did so many more games. I don't know if he worked on Panzer Dragoon. I don't know, but he worked on a lot of Sega Sega games. He really did. I think he worked on Sonic the Fighters. I think he did, because Sonic the Fighters plays very similar to Virtua Fighter, and it's basically the exact same game anyway. So, I know AM2 developed it, so yeah, I think he did. And by the way, AM2, which is my currently one of my games video, it's my profile picture on this channel. I may never change it. AM2, right there. They're my favorite gaming developing company of all time. They are, and they're also on the back, I think, of Shenmue I. No. Oh, I thought they were. Oh. Well, sorry. They are in the Japanese version, right? I swear to God they are. Oh. Well, let's see. Huh. No love for AM2? Is that just a custom logo the person put on there? Yeah, I guess it is. But, well, at least their AM2 of Cry is right, it says it right there in text. Right there. At least. And one more thing. Sorry. Oh my god, I'm totally screwing up my own video. Ah! How'd I have this? Like this? There we go. Just gonna grab this really fast. They are on the back of. There they are. They're on the back of the Xbox version. See, there's a logo, much more bigger. Right there, AM2. Yeah, yeah. They've designed a ton of Sega classics. They did. Trust me, they really did. On the Master System, to the Genesis, to the Sega CD, to the 32X, to the Saturn, to the Dreamcast. They made like the best Sega games ever. They did. And Space Harrier, fucking Space Harrier. Space Harrier is one of my favorite games of all time. It really is. I get so much joy out of it, and I got to play an original arcade of it, and that was very special. That was very special. That was in Canada too. They had Outrun, but I think it was Hang On. I think they had Hang On, but it was out of order. Much like in Shenmue I. I think so. If I can remember right, yeah, I think so. It's kind of funny actually thinking like that, because in the arcade in Shenmue I, Hang On is in it, and it doesn't work. But you can actually win the game through the convenience store in the game. So, God, that's so confusing. The game is set in 1980s, and in the first Shenmue game, in Ryo Hazuki's house, he owns a Sega Saturn. That machine didn't come out until at least 1994, so that's kind of silly. But, or 1995? In 1996 here? No, I think it's 94. I don't know. I don't know what the Sega Saturn, but guys, that was one long video. I'm sorry I went on forever with it. There's so much more about Shenmue I want to talk about, but I will save it all for review. And other times, there'll be other. this is not going to be the last. I'm talking about Shenmue, especially with Shenmue 3 coming out around the corner. This will not be my last video. I promise. I love the series. I can't talk right now. I love this series like a loved one, like a real life loved one, like my fiance, or like my child, or like, you know, my closest friend. Like, this feels like that to me. I know it's just plastic and all that crap, but I have a very emotional bond with Shenmue, and I have a lot of patience for it. I'm never in a rush to play this game, but whenever I beat Shenmue I and 2, I'm kind of sad because I'm like, you know, it's on my VMU on my Dreamcast, and in order for me to play Shenmue I again, I had to delete the save files because it's like, damn it, or play it on a new VMU. So it's like, oh man. So I really hope Shenmue I and 2 HD do come out on PS4 for that specific reason, so I can have another way of playing it without feeling like I gotta delete stuff. I mean, I have them here on my PC, so I will just stick to that at least. So, you know, there's that too. But just, you can't beat playing Shenmue on the Dreamcast. You just can't. It just can't. You know, it'd also be nice if somebody could invent like a VMU that could let you play Shenmue more than once. You know, with like 15 gigabytes on it. That'd be awesome, but I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. Because the VMU, the Sega Dreamcast memory card, has so little space on it. It's like, it's not even funny. Okay, sorry, now I'm talking about something else completely different. I'm very sorry about that. But Shenmue's fantastic. I love it. It's wonderful. I'm gonna put these games away. You guys take care and have a good night, or a good day, good afternoon. And please, if you've never played Shenmue before, please play these games. I'm actually gonna make a video. Now, here's another thing. If you are a fresh, brand new Shenmue virgin, right out of the gates, and you've never played Shenmue in your entire life, and you're about to buy it after watching this video on the Dreamcast, stick around, guy. Stick around, male or female, sir or madam, because I'm going to show you an instruction video of how to make this. Coming up, I will. That's gonna be my next video. I'm gonna show you how to create Shenmue I and 2 in a jewel case just like this for your Dreamcast. How to burn the games, all that stuff. I'm gonna do that. Now, in order for it to be legal, you have to have what I have. Now, you don't need Shenmue 1, you don't need these, but everything else you do need. You do, I'm positive you need at least one Dreamcast copy of Shenmue 2 and one original Xbox version of it in order to do that. I could be wrong about that, but I'm fairly positive you need all this stuff before you do this. Don't rush yourself though. You know, no one's gonna call the cops on you. It's okay, but in order for it to be technically legal, you have to buy the stuff. I would recommend, just for now, not worrying about that and just buying this at least, and to make this, because this is, again, the cheapest way. So if you have a Dreamcast, I would highly recommend purchasing and trying out Shenmue. If you don't like it, you could obviously sell the game on eBay again, or trade it into to your local game store. You're not gonna lose much money. It's fairly expensive. It's like 30 to 40. It's like around 30 to 60. And so it's like the price of a new game, or the price of like a very good used game. Because it is a very good used game. Trust me, this game's fantastic. You're not gonna be disappointed if you play Shenmue. Trust me, you won't be. But if you don't like it, it's okay. You know, it's not for everybody. I understand. If you fucking hate Shenmue, want to just punch it and beat the shit out of it and be like, I wish this game never bloody existed. It's very sad, but if you really feel that way, that's fine. You know, no one can argue how you feel. No one can tell you what you hate and like. So that's okay if you don't like Shenmue. It really is. I love it, as you can tell. I'm like, oh, Shenmue! But if you don't like it, That's okay, I don't care. But if you're interested to hear more Shenmue facts, more of my experiences, more of my Shenmue stories, please tell me in the description below, or in the comment section below, sorry, and I'll make more videos for sure. Oh, I'm going to regardless, but I can, I don't really have many like stories with other people. They're all mostly just personal to me. I can talk about my favorite moments. That would be a good. Now that I should do. Me being the storyteller, me writing a book, me all that stuff. I should totally talk about my favorite Shenmue moments and why I think they're so damn good. Anyways, guys, see you later until my next video. Bye bye. Long live Shenmue. Long live AM2. And long live Yu Suzuki as long as he's in good health. And looking forward to Shenmue 3, man. I'm really looking forward to it. You did a wonderful job with these games. And I cannot wait for Shenmue 4. I seriously can't. And along with 3. 3's not even out yet. And I'm already saying, get over Shenmue 4. Ah! Alright, bye. Have a good one. Take care.
Go on.
What?
Go ahead.
Is it silent? It doesn't matter. Watch what it does. It's really cool. Watch. Fucking wait and see. We'll see. Alright, whoa. Look at this. Look at this. Whoa. See the smoke. Oh my god. Whoa. Look at that. Look at that. Oh no. Oh. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, watch out! Ah! I got my first life taken away. Watch what it does. I'm gonna play this one now, and then we're going.